But experts around the world are saying that 2025 is the decisive year for Iran's nuclear program. People have been talking about Iran's nuclear program for decades, but it seems like there's a consensus growing that this is the year when something's going to happen dramatically one way or another. And that prediction looks more and more likely all the time. President Trump right now is earnestly looking for what they're calling the Iran nuclear deal 2.0. I mean, he wants peace. He wants peace between Russia and Iran. He wants peace between Israel and her neighbors. He wants to expand the Abraham Accords. He's a peacemaker. And he wants this Iran nuclear deal 2.0. But his timeline is very brief. Iran is on a short leash and has to decide quickly because time's running out. The Jewish News Syndicate has a headline that says, Trump says we're down to the final moments with Iran. The article says this: President Trump says, I'd rather see a peace deal than the other, but the other will solve the problem. He said this hinting at a possible military action against Iran's nuclear program. The article goes on and says, U.S. President Donald Trump hinted that the United States could take military action against the Iranian nuclear program very soon if the Islamic Republic does not strike a deal with the United States. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, Trump said that there would be interesting days ahead with respect to Iran. He says, we're down to final strokes with Iran, using a golf metaphor. He said, we're down to the final moments. We're at final moments. We can't let them have a nuclear weapon. And of course, the International Atomic Energy Agency has announced, and really a pair of reports in late February, that Iran has significantly increased its production of uranium to 60% purity. That's just shy of the 90% considered weapons grade for use in a nuclear bomb. But the article says this: roughly 92.5 pounds of 60% enriched uranium is the approximate amount of nuclear material for which the possibility of manufacturing a nuclear or explosive device cannot be excluded. According to the IAEA, Iran has 605 pounds of 60% enriched uranium. So that's 6 nuclear weapons. Now, President Trump has said that whatever comes next between the United States and Iran, he says, it's going to be a big thing. He says, we have a situation with Iran that something's going to happen very soon, very, very soon. Now, President Trump has sent a letter to the Iranian Supreme Leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini. And he's been offering to reopen these nuclear talks with him. NPR has a headline that says, Trump rebuffed by Iran's leader after sending a letter calling for nuclear negotiations. So the Supreme Leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini, seems to have kind of rebuffed President Trump's overtures for peace. The Times of Israel has a headline that says, Trump administration ends Iraq's waiver to buy Iranian electricity. So there's been a waiver in place with all the sanctions that are on Iran for Iraq to buy their electricity, but they're pulling the plug on that as well. So he's putting the full economic squeeze on Iran. This is the maximum pressure campaign. Now, Iran is starting to show right now a little bit of willingness to meet for these peace talks, but only if the talks are limited to Iran's military use of nuclear material, not banning them from any nuclear production whatsoever. Of course, they claim that this is all just for civilian purposes. But of course, the United States and Israel understand that this is to cross the nuclear finish line. And so Iran has said, well, we'll have the talks as long as we don't talk about any military use. It's just civilian use. Now, I believe that's going to be a non-starter for President Trump. He doesn't want them to have a nuclear program at all. The Times of Israel headline says, U.S. and Israel should probably join up to destroy Iran's nuclear program, hostage envoy says. This is fascinating. This article says the White House's top official on hostage negotiations says Israel and the U.S. would not have trouble joining up to destroy Iran's nuclear program. He says it's not so hard for us to partner with Israel and take out Iran's nuclear capability. Adam Bowler tells Fox News Sunday. He said this, we probably should do it. So this is an American envoy. A retired four-star general, a retired four-star general warns that President Trump won't give Iran forever to make this major nuclear decision. So the clock is ticking for Iran either to get to the peace table quickly and seriously, or or face the consequences. The president said this recently, that he prefers a verified nuclear peace agreement over joint military action with Israel that would blow Iran into smithereens.